Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. Now, the sun has exploded in Southern California. It is hot as balls out here, so I had to turn the air conditioner off to do this because otherwise it's just too noisy. And yeah, so we're going to try to do this as quickly as possible so we can turn the air conditioner back on because we don't have central air conditioning in the house. We have the little window units, so it's literally saving our lives at this point. And of course, the air conditioner goes out on my car, so that's been a fun drive to work every day. Anyways, let's get all the negativity out of the way with the weather. Hopefully, you're all doing well. It's a pretty decent sized week, so let's just get going so we can get the air conditioner back on. First up, we have Life, written by Brian Azzilio. With artwork by Stephanie Phillips. Now, what this is a flip book, so there's two parts. I really recommend reading the pro part, which most people, you'll probably read first because it's a flip book, so half of it's one. Half of first, there's pro and cons. Like I said, read the pro part first because what it is it's about that story is about a safecracker who gets out of jail and then he's coerced by his girlfriend to go to this kind of abandoned planet where there's a safe, and since he's a safecracker, he can crack it. So, they go to this planet. At the end of that story, he gets the plan. Then you flip the other side, and the con story is about a killer. He sentenced to 32 life sentences because he killed like 19 people. And so what it is he... him and some of the others, because of overcrowding, they send him to this prison planet. And, that's basically, so what you see at the end of that is that him and another prisoner on that planet see the spaceship that the safecracker and his team came on. So what it is, they're two separate stories, but they bleed together. They come together in the end. So it was quite interesting. Zillio's story was really, like I said, it was really interesting. I wisely read the pro part first before the con. And Stephanie Phillips, her artwork has a really kinetic energy to it. It's really kind of like, really kind of scratchy and stuff. I'm trying to describe it. It's really hard. It really has a sense of, feeling to it that really works in the story, with these, kind of both of these criminals. It just has a really, a gritty feel to it, which is really perfect for the story. I really like this. The idea of a flip book is not particularly new, but I think the way that Azzilio does the story with this flip book is really quite genius. So, we're checking out. Distillery's really on a good run here with their books. Next up, we have Exceptional X-Men #1, written by Eve Ewing, with artwork by Carmen Carnero. So this is another book, it's the post-Krakoa era. And so what this one is Kitty Pryde is a bartender, and, she's just trying to live a normal life because people still, are not enamored with mutants and stuff. And of course, she physically looks human, so she's able to blend in really well. So she ends up going to this concert. She ends up on the wrong day, and there's a girl who has a ticket, and her mutant powers kick off. And so Kitty saves her. And so really what it kind of comes down to is Kitty just wants to have a normal life, but she kind of realizes that she needs to be a mentor, and kind of become a leader of an X-Men team. And towards the end of the issue, and this is not a bit of a spoiler because she's on the cover, that the White Queen is kind of keeping tabs on Kitty. So there's something, obviously in the issues that'll come up. I actually like this. I was cold on some of the new X-Men books. I like this one because it was just telling this story about Kitty just trying to survive, trying to survive in life. And that was really, really interesting. I thought that was just it's a character study, first issue, which I really, really liked. It wasn't like, oh, here's X-Men, they're going to go just fight bad guys, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't, kind of the typical superhero book. I did like that. And Canero's artwork is really, really nice. It's a good looking book. I would say it's definitely worth checking out. So it really comes down to the ones that I've enjoyed the most are Exceptional, X Factor, and Uncanny X-Men. Those seem to be the three that seem to be the winners so far of the first issues. So definitely check out Exceptional X-Men number 1. Next up, we have Absolute Power number 3, written by Mark Waid with artwork by Dan Mora. The heroes that are left, they've escaped to Paradise Island where, they're kind of incognito. So they set out this plan of kind of these small teams going to get heroes and get things to defeat Amanda Waller and Failsafe and Brainiac Queen. And we still have John, who has been taken over by the Brainiac Queen. And so Mr. Terrific and the Atom are setting up a trap to hopefully, not so much capture John, but rescue John. We also find out that Amanda Waller knows about the DC multiverse. So that's going to come into play in the final issue. Like I said, I'm not a big, event person. But I do like, I really like Mark Waid and Dan Mora, and I think they've done a really interesting job here. And this is all leading up to, the DC All In, where there's going to be, like the regular books, and then there's going to be absolute books. So, that's what it's kind of leading up to, but we'll see what happens in the next issue to kind of see where everything's going to land. It's been an interesting story. And of course, Dan Mora's artwork is just gorgeous. So that's always an easy win for that. So I still think it's worth picking up. Next up, we have Minor Arcana, written and drawn by Jeff Lemire. Just to let you know, this is going to be a really long form story. What it is it's going to be collected in 4 hardcovers, I believe. They say that at the end. It's a long form series from the creator of Sweet Tooth to be collected in 4 deluxe hardcovers. So it's going to be a big book for him. So the basic story here is that Teresa comes back to this small town that she wanted to get out of because her mother, who is this local psychic, she's sick, and so she's come back to take care of her. And so, over the years, she's learned her mother's psychic tricks, and somebody comes in and says, hey, I need a reading. I need to find out about this. And then Teresa kind of discovers that she's able to tap into this magic. We don't quite know what all that is, but with the tarot cards, she's able to tap into something that she didn't kind of know about. So that is quite interesting. I'm a big Jeff Lemire fan. I like how he set up the story. I know for some people his art is kind of like hot and cold, but I actually do really enjoy his artwork. And it's really an interesting setup to a story. So if you're a Jeff Lemire fan, definitely check it out. If you've never really, hopefully you've all read Sweet Tooth by now. But this is like I said, it's off to a good start, and I think it's well worth checking out. I really like this book this week. I really enjoyed it. Next up, we have Cruel Universe number 2. Now, there's 4 stories. The first one, Organic, written by Stephanie Phillips with artwork by Riley Rossmo. Brilliant and Deceived, written by Ben H. Winters with artwork by Leo Max. And The Prophet Said, written by Chris Condon and Javier Fernandez, with artwork by Javier Fernandez. And then the final story, Raygun, written by Christopher Cantwell with artwork by David Lapham. These EC books from Ani, there's 2 of them. This one is the science fiction. The other one's the horror. This one really, I enjoyed all 4 stories. The Cruel Organics is the story is that all the cows have went extinct, so now humans are raised as meat, And so there's kind of a play on the whole what is organic, and I don't want to say anymore, but it was really, really like a good twist at the end. I'm a huge fan of Riley Rossmo, so that was a win for that story. But I like Philip's story, so that one was a big win. Brilliant and Deceived is basically kind of a take on the Frankenstein story, where this doctor, his wife goes out, she gets in a car accident, so he puts her back together and brings her back to life. But I don't want to give away the twist. It's like a 2-3 page story. It was really, really good. The twist was amazing. Like I said, Winter's story was really good. And Leo Max did the artwork, so that was a win. And the Prophet Said story is actually profit as in profit for money. Is basically, so this guy has inoperable brain tumor, and so this company that he works for has found a way to be able to like do surgery and fix it. Well, there's a side effect where he's actually able to see the future, and the company kind of knew about this, so the whole plan was that he's able to make them profit. And so there's a twist at the end of where, be careful what you wish for. He was just a janitor at the place, and now he's become rich and everything. But, be careful what you wish for, because you might not like what you get when you get it. So that was an interesting story. Condon, like I said, neat story. Fernandez's art was really good. And then Ray Gun is about a cowboy who can't do the circuit anymore because a horse fell on his foot and broke it. So he has to take, kind of whatever jobs he can get. And he stumbles across this spaceship crash where there's this ray gun. It looks like a toy ray gun, but it actually disintegrates stuff. So when he goes to work at like the grocery store, his boss gives him crap. He disintegrates him. And, so eventually the Men in Black catch up with him. And once again, I don't want to ruin the ending, but it was a good twist on the end. Once again, anthologies are always like, hit and miss. You can have some good stories and some that maybe don't, work well for you. But this one, all 4 stories were really good. Great stories, really nice artwork. This one's well worth picking up. And once again, they're all self-contained, so you don't need to pick up issue 1. If you just want to pick up this one by itself, you're perfectly fine on doing that. Next up, we have Plastic Man No More, written by Christopher Cantwell, with artwork by Alex Linz. So what this is a Black Label series. So what Cantwell does is you start the book with the kind of the origin of Plastic Man. He was a robber, Eel O'Brien, and so he falls in. He gets doused with this chemical that turns him into Plastic Man. So you kind of shoot to the current time. And so he's on a mission with the Justice League, and he gets hit by this death ray. And this death ray, basically starts breaking up his molecules, where his hand actually, drips away from him while he's sleeping. And so now he's on this quest to, see if he can fix this, thing that's happening to his body. And the other thing is he's also trying to reconnect with his son. Because his son has his powers too. The son is able to stretch, but they're estranged from each other. So there's that going on in the background. And then we also find out that there's a doctor who has said, well, if you do, if a nuclear explosion might fix this. So it's like now Plastic Man's looking for a nuclear explosion. This was really interesting. I'm a big Plastic Man fan, as you can see right here. I have the lovely Kyle Baker run that he did at DC. Also, there was a really great run. I think it was back in the late 80s or early 90s. With Hilary Barta doing the artwork, and I think Phil Foglio wrote the story, I believe. I will not swear to that. That was a really good one. But Plastic Man's always been an interesting character for me, created by Jack Cole back in the day. It's in this, I really like what Cantwell did. First of all, a lot of people aren't familiar with Plastic Man, so it was smart, kind of retelling, doing his origin again. And then Lynn's artwork is absolutely fantastic. I like how his artwork was a little bit different for that flashback with the origin. And then, he his style is really kind of cartoony, which really fits Plastic Man. I think some of the problem with Plastic Man over the years has, he's a goofy character, and you need to kind of have him not only with the story, but the art-wise has to be a little on the goofy side. So, both the story and the art here are really good. I really like this book a lot. Definitely well worth checking out. It'll be interesting to see where Cantwell and Lynn's takes this, but I really like this first issue. Next up, we have Scarlett, number 4, written by Kelly Thompson, with artwork by Marco Ferrari. So Scarlett has joined the Ashike gang to kind of, because her girlfriend Jinx is part of the gang, so she's gone in there to, I guess, rescue her and stuff. And then and she has to, basically the target has been this, power, there's something, this unique thing that has a lot of power, and we find out that it is actually the power of life. It's a sword with the power of life, and we're like, oh boy, that really changes everything. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm really liking this series. Thompson's scripts are really good, and Ferrari's artwork is really, really nice. Still well worth checking out. I'm really enjoying this kind of G.I. Joe spinoff. So definitely worth checking out. Next up, we have Uncanny Valley, number 5, written by Tony Fleece, with artwork by Dave Wachter. Oliver is, kind of half toon, half human. And so, the villain is after him, because if they sacrifice him, they'll save kind of Toonville. But Oliver's mom and grandfather the heroes are trying to, save Oliver from his fate. And, there's a big battle here, and Oliver escapes, but it's kind of interesting to see where it's going to go from here. This was really, this is kind of a big action issue. It'll be interesting. I'm really digging what Fleece is doing with this story. How it's combining kind of like toons and humans. Very Roger Rabbit, obviously inspired. But really the big win is Wachter's artwork, where, like Oliver, he draws as like, kind of a realistic boy. And yet there's all these toons around him, and he can do toon stuff. I'm really digging this book a lot. It's just a lot of fun. It's, sure, it's definitely inspired by Roger Rabbit, but Fleece has definitely taken that kind of nugget of an idea and really given it a different spin here. And I really like it. And once again, Wachter's artwork is just really wonderful. Well worth checking out. Next up, we have Duck and Cover, number 1, written by Scott Snyder, with artwork by Raphael Albuquerque. So this is the same team that did American Vampire at DC Vertigo. And so what the basic premise is, it's set in 1955. Back in 52, there was this film that, during, the Cold War, that duck and cover was, if there was a bomb scare, that if you ducked and covered under your desk, it would save you. It probably wouldn't from a nuclear bomb, but, that was the theory. It's like, oh, the desk will save you. So cut ahead to Ollie. So Ollie is a boy who wants to become a filmmaker, and while him and his friends are making a film, he gets attacked by a dog, and it gets his eye. But the thing is that Ollie is black, so he's in a small town, and he's not particularly welcomed a lot. And so cut later, him and his best friend work at a drive-in, and so they're showing his film. He puts it on. Some of the jocks get angry, and then they have a big fight. The cops break it up. And so instead of sending them to jail or anything, they all get detention, everybody who's in the fight. And while they're in detention, there's a bomb scare. They duck and cover, and it's actually real bombs and everything. And what you find out is that they've dropped these it's kind of like 50s World War III meets War of the Worlds, because there's these alien creatures, mechanical monsters that are, rounding everybody up to put them in, I guess, concentration camps. So that's kind of what the premise of this book is, that the desk actually saved the kids, but there's more, there's worse things than maybe dying at this point. So it was really interesting. I know that was a long explanation for it, but I really like the setup here that Snyder did, and Albuquerque's artwork is really, really fantastic. The other nice thing, it's kind of a double-sized issue, but it has kind of behind the scenes, sketches of development stuff, which kind of nice. So you're getting a little more bang for your buck, getting some extras in there, which is really nice. Well worth checking out. I really did like that. So next up we have Animal Pound number 5, written by Tom King with artwork by Peter Gross. So Piggy is, he's won a couple of elections. So now he's basically just turned into a dictator. And so he's taken power and really gotten rid of the election. So there's no democracy anymore. So the cats and the rabbits are basically, helpless against the dogs. And so what it is Piggy hires humans to come and take care of the shelter, because they do need certain things that humans can do. And in a way, the Piggy has turned it back into the Animal Pound, where, they'll basically take the dog or cat if they don't like them and euthanize them. So, it's once again, it's the rise of power and how power corrupts. That's, this is a take on Animal Farm. It's the same, it's the same premise, but what King is doing here is just kind of giving it a more modern spin, which really is quite interesting, because the Animal Farm is a brilliant story. And I think it's even more relevant today than even when it was originally written, back in the day. And really also the big win is Peter Gross's artwork is just absolutely fantastic. It's a really gorgeous book. Like I said, a timely story, still well worth checking out. Definitely continue to must buy this. Next up, we had The Boy Wonder, number 5, written and drawn by Junie Baugh. So this finishes off the story, and it's basically the big finale between Damon and his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul. Him and his mother, Talia, are trying to save him, because Ra's al Ghul wants to basically take over Damien's body, because the Lazarus pit he can't really use it anymore. He's kind of burnt out on it. And so so as he battles, he gets lucky, because the Bat family, his father and the others, come to help, save him. And also, it's really interesting, and I don't want to really give away, it's not so much really about the battle, it's about the aftermath and what Damien has kind of learned from this story. With the family. It's really a story about family, and that's, Baugh really wraps it up very nicely, and, kind of the epilogue to the story is really hits the heart of what this book was about. And I really, really like it. If you missed it, I know there's going to be a collection of it. Definitely pick it up. This was really good. Baugh's story, and I love his artwork. Really well worth checking out. It really, must buy. But like I said, there'll be a collection, and definitely pick that up. Next up, we have Flash Gordon, number 2, written by Jeremy Adams, with artwork by Will Conrad. So he's trapped on the Death Planet, which is like a prison. He discovers that Ming is kind of running this gladiator games for the warden. So Ming is kind of trapped there too, and they're both trying to ultimately escape. And so Ming is kind of using the gladiators to, throw Flash under the bus, and yet try to escape the Death Planet. So that's the basic story here. I like what Adams is doing. I mean, he's modernizing Flash Gordon, but not kind of changing what, really what the heart of Flash Gordon is. Conrad's artwork is really nice. This is really a good looking book. And it'll be interesting to see. I kind of like what Adams is doing with the story, how it's not just, he's changing it, but not trying to reinvent the wheel, which is really a smart move. You don't break what's not broken. So he's, so yeah, it's still well worth checking out. We'll kind of see where it goes, but I'm liking what Adams and Conrad are doing here. Next up, we have Helen of Wyndhorn, number 4, written by Tom King, with artwork by Belliquis Evely. So what it is Helen trains to become a warrior to go out with her grandfather, Barnabas. And so they go, it's one thing, they go to this other world, and she's been to the other world, but now, part of the reason he goes to the other world is to fight creatures and stuff like that. So Helen trains, but when they go out on one battle, Helen doesn't die, but she's pretty messed up. So he won't let her go back out again. And, it kind of comes back to her father, that Barnabas apparently did the same thing with his son. And now, she's like, now there's kind of back to the yin and yang of like their relation, Barnabas and Helen's relationship. So, once again, this book is really amazing. I'm trying to not spoil it too much, with the story. This is the same team who did Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This is really an amazing book. The story is amazing. It's very Conan inspired. Evely's artwork is just stunning. It is a gorgeous book. Definitely pick this book up. It's really well worth checking out. And then finally, we have Trinity Special World's Finest one-shot, written by Tom King and with artwork by Belen Ortega. So what this is a pure reprint of 6 of the backup stories in Wonder Woman. So if you've been reading Wonder Woman, you don't necessarily need to pick this up. I picked it up because of this wonderful variant cover by Belen Ortega that has the corgis in it, which was one of my favorite stories, which is reprinted in here. And it also, at the end, does have a little few-page preview of new story and art that is going to, it says there's a Trinity series coming soon. Now, I'm hoping that King and Ortega are doing said series. I would hope that they would. But this is a chance, if you haven't been reading Wonder Woman, you can definitely pick this up. I mean, I've been a really big fan of these backups, and a lot of them are one-and-done stories, so that's really great. And Ortega's artwork is just fantastic. It's really, really wonderful. And now I'm very excited. There's going to be a Trinity series. So hopefully, like I said, it's the same team, and hopefully, fingers crossed that Ortega gets to do the artwork, because she's just really amazing. And you're going to love these short stories. It was honestly great rereading them again, even though I'd read them before. It's well worth picking up this week. That's going to do it. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics, Long Beach, California. This Saturday, tomorrow, because I'm recording this Friday morning-ish, a lot of the voice cast for X-Men 97 are going to be at the store. And then on the 14th, there is a signing with Lee Louridge. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. With his new book, that's on a Saturday, and then on Wednesday the 18th, Daniel Warren Johnson's going to be there for his new book. It's a lot of stuff's going on in a very short period, so it's going to be really exciting at the store. Ryan runs a great store. There's Annie, there's Wendy, Derek runs their socials. Check out their socials for the times and the exact dates and who all's going to be there. I will include those in the video here. But really, it's just a solid comic shop. And as always, support your local comic shop. They're the backbone of the industry. And as always, we end our show with be kind to each other, and be kind to yourself. Trust me, things are tough all over. It's things are, scary and crazy, but being kind to others is good for you, and taking care of yourself is really important. Like I said, just, sometimes you just need to take a step back, take a breath. That's why I love about comics is you can go into that world and not, for a little bit, you can not worry about things. And that's what I've always loved about comics. It can take you to a place you don't have to think about, the reality. But as always, just be kind and take care of yourselves, and take care of yourselves. That's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's always appreciated. I try to post them on the socials. And we'll do it again next week. Thanks for watching. This is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com signing off. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.